Last month we went on an awesome motorhome trip to Italy. We got up super early at about 5 a.m. That's why we made it to our first stop pretty soon. Since we travel with a motorhome, it's a bit of an issue to find parking in bigger cities, so that's why we usually just park somewhere, spend 1 or 2 hours, maximum of 3 hours, just walking around, exploring, and then we move on. And that's fantastic if you want to see a lot in a short amount of time. But if you plan to do some sightseeing, then I would say there are better options for you out there, like just getting on a plane, getting on a train, and actually spending a couple of days in a city as opposed to just rushing from city to city like we often do. After walking around for a bit and getting a good first impression of the city, we went back to our car. There we just spent a calm evening, got some dinner, and then went to bed soon after. The next morning we discovered that they had a pool, so we went for a quick swim before moving on. And then we were on the road again. After not too long of a drive, we arrived in our second city. We actually managed to travel to Italy during a massive heat wave, so this wasn't very pleasant. We had to walk quite a bit to get to the city centre. But luckily I came across my favourite ice cream store in Florence and treated myself to some ice cream. After I got some of my energy back, the city tour continued. When we visited the courtyard of the Palazzo Vecchio, excuse my Italian pronunciation, I saw some cool panels, painted panels with views of some of the cities of the Habsburg Empire, including Vienna, which is where I'm from. So that was pretty cool. Shortly after, my brief time in Florence came to an end and we once again walked back to our car. This time we actually wanted to go to a different campsite we haven't been to before. We didn't really like any of them, so we just ended up at Baia Verde again. There was a silent cinema happening and everyone wore purple headphones. Afterwards we made our way to the restaurant where I got some delicious dinner, and the next morning I was in a campsite's bathrooms where they for some reason played some music. And then we finally made our way to the beach. I unfortunately did need to get some work done that day, so I didn't stay as long on the beach. Instead I returned to the motorhome to get some work done. And what I was doing here is read some articles related to the topic that I'm writing my thesis about. Afterwards, I kept revising my first chapter. After a few hours of work, we once again made our way to the restaurant, a different one this time. After a delicious dinner, I stopped to admire the moon. The next morning, before we again headed to the beach, I had a cup of tea and I was reading a couple of pages of it, which was my current read at the time. For a couple of hours we were back at the campsite for my second cup of tea of the day. After a last dinner at the campsite, we left the next morning. Lucca is the third and last city we visited during this trip. I'm very lucky to announce that I'm part of Penguin's International Literary Huddle. This was the first book mail that I got, 2 amazing books, a tote bag, a sticker and a couple of bookmarks that I'll show you in a second. A dream I had for over a decade has finally come true. When I was a teenager, I read and loved the Inheritance Cycle books, but I only read them in German and I only borrowed them from the library, so I never owned my own copies. But this summer I made my dream come true and I ordered these special editions published by The Broken Binding, and I'm so happy that I can finally call them mine.